Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to DAZ Reacts, and today I have a Dave Allen reaction video for you. And in this one he talks about giving up smoking, and I can relate because I gave up smoking about 18 months ago now, and best thing I ever done. I just got bored of it, honestly, really got bored. There was no financial gain or nothing to do with health. I just got bored of smoking, so I quit. I used the patches, 12 weeks later, come off of them. I haven't had a cigarette since, so I've been happy about that and saved a shitload of money, so I'm happy. But yeah, I love Dave Allen. Dave Allen and his storytelling for me is just best to none, honestly. That this man never ever fails to make me laugh. I mean, even the last one, he was talking about drinking and things like that, and all it took was someone trying to grab his drink from the side, and he lost the plot with him, and that just done it for me. This man is just brilliant, so I'm looking forward to this. If there's any other Dave Allen you want me to react to, let me know in the comments down below, and I will get round to doing it. But until then, let's get into this one.
It's been 3.5 years since I worked on television. Things have changed. I've changed slightly. One of the main changes, you probably noticed, there's no ashtray. I have given it up. A heavy smoker. I used to even smoke in between smokes. Have given it up. Totally changed. And the most extraordinary thing about giving up smoking, to non-smokers, I'm a convert. I've come over. I've joined them. They're proud of me. They say, good for you. You've given up the filthy habit. Good, 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 good. The heavy smokers who used to be my allies, I'm a traitor. Bloody Judas. You of all people. But one of the good things, or one of the new things about giving up smoking, is that I now have my sense of smell back. I can actually get up in the morning and open a window, throw it up and breathe it, and smell again. Petrol. Carbon monoxide. Dog shit. I mean, it's taste. I actually thought when I used to eat food, it was the smoking. I had no taste. It's not the smoking, it's the food. It's bloody tasteless. Somebody said to me the other day, shall we eat or have a McDonald's?
The funny thing is that they say that, like, when you quit smoking, like, you'll quit smoking and you'll get your taste back and you'll appreciate food more. It's not the case. It's just that when you're smoking, you spend so much money on cigarettes that you buy cheap food, so you got money for cigarettes. But when you stop smoking, you go out and buy, like, more expensive foods that have got better taste.
Now the whole thing about being a smoker, actually being a smoker is very difficult in today's society because the pressures are on smokers. Society frowns upon smokers. There are signs everywhere. See them here. No smoking. Smoking is not allowed. Smoking is forbidden. The Americans, they're totally lunatic about it. When I was in America, I was smoking, and a woman stopped me in the street and she said, "You're smoking." Like I'd exposed myself. I said, "Yes, madam." She said, "You had a cigarette in your mouth." I said, "I know, I've been smoking for years. That's the only way I know how." You notice in public, if you actually spit, if you spit in the street, you can be fined £25. If your dog fouls the footpath, £20. But the cost of a smoke, or what it would cost you if you're caught smoking, can be £50. Now that means that you can actually have a good spit. Your dog can crap to his heart's content, and you've still got a fiver to take home. When I started smoking, I was actually 4.5. I did actually start to keep up with my brothers, who were slightly older. I had one brother who was 6 and one who was 8, and they were heavy smokers. So I used to keep up with them to smoke. I'm 4.5. I'm this size. And people would say, "It'll stunt your growth." Lavatory. I mean, everybody in school smoked. As soon as there was a school break, we'd all go for the lavatory. In the cubicle. 8 or 9 of us in each cubicle. Passing this little cigarette.
I used to do this thing, honestly. It's the worst. I started smoking when I was about 13, 14. I tried my first cigarette when I was 12, and I started full on smoking when I was like coming up to 14 years old. And like for me, I used to always smoke like at the end of my playground in school behind a tree. Like it was never seen. That was a blind spot, and I used to always smoke there. But to actually get my cigarettes, my mum and dad have always smoked, and my dad smokes roll ups. And what he used to do is he used to like back then it was the case that like everyone smoked in the house. That like there was no like surprise that we started smoking. That like you needed foghorns to get through my ass at times. Like especially if family come round, everyone's smoking and things like that. Like you'd open the street door and like the smoke would come out. It's like tonight, Matthew, I'm gonna be. So so that's what it was. So it was no reason like it was no surprise that I started smoking, but I used to do it. Like I never had money for cigarettes, so my dad used to roll a cigarette and leave it in the ashtray and then go and make a cup of tea. So in his mind, he's like, "I've rolled that. I'm going to go make a nice cup of tea. Come back, sit down, put a cowboy on, have a nice smoke and a cup of tea and that." And I'd nick his cigarettes, and then like I'd hide them, but then I'd watch him to see how he reacted sometimes. And it was the case. Like I used to make him feel like he was losing the plot. He'd sit down and like, I could have sworn I just rolled a cigarette. And he didn't know we was in the air. He didn't know I was in the air. So like, I could have sworn I just rolled one of them. Oh, I could have sworn it. But one of the most genius things is that you can't do it nowadays, but back in like the 90s and things like that like my mum used to be able to write a note. So she'd get a bit of paper. Please give my son 10 sovereign. And I'll take that note to the shop. I'll give over the 50, 60p, whatever it cost. Go back. There's your cigarettes. She would always take the cigarettes. She would never take the note. And I used that note so many times. I used to go in that shop and this woman is, "Oh, your mum smokes so much." I was like, I know. Did she realise? But back then it was like it was easy to do anything. Like my mum used to send me down on a Monday morning before school, like, "Go cash my gyro and then use this note to get me some fags on the way back." And yeah, it was a proper like Wayne and Waynetta family, basically.
If you went out and looked down the line of cubicles, it was like the Industrial Revolution. Somebody used them for what they intended to use them. It was like a breath of fresh air. You remember going to the cinema years ago when there was no smoking regulations? Everybody in the cinema smoked. It was just a massive smoke. You go in, you go. And when you got to the screen and you could see the screen, there were people on the screen. Do you remember those scenes, the seduction scenes? How the cigarette was played with? It became part of a kind of hand phallic symbol. People used to kind of touch it and stroke it and roll it. Women would kind of put it into the mouth and take it out again. The whole audience. They used to have those cigarette cases that you could buy that actually you pressed a button and one cigarette came out all by itself. It was a sexual invitation. You'd hand it out and you'd go, and the cigarette would go. And if the woman went, you. Do we have any smokers here? Yes. That's the extraordinary thing about smoking, is that when you make love, you answered me about smoking. Do you smoke after you've made love? I don't mean literally, I mean...
It is the thing, it's normal that, like, as a smoker, like, when I met my wife, she used to smoke, but, like, she'd quit years and years and years ago, so I've never known her as a smoker. So it was always the case that, like, after lovemaking, like, she'd be there talking about something, and I'd be like, "I want a cigarette. I want a cigarette. Why won't you stop talking? Let me go and smoke. Why won't you just let me go and smoke?" And it's a weird thing, and that's the hardest thing about giving up smoking. That like, there's certain times when you have to smoke. Like as a smoker, the second you open your eyes, you don't think about nothing else. That like you'll go and have a fag, and then after you've had that, you'll go and make a cup of tea. Once you've had that cup of tea, you'll have a fag. Then you'll get ready, and then like for me, like on my way out. Walking to the bus stop, I'll have a fag. I'll get to the bus stop and see that the bus is going to be 7 minutes long. It's like, I'll have a fag. And then then you think like, "Oh crap, I've already smoked too much this morning." Then you'll get on the train, get to work, get off the train, have a fag. Before you go into work, you'll have a fag. When I was working in an office, I got told that this is something that I never knew at first, but I got told health and safety states that if you work in front of a computer, every hour you need to take at least 5 to 10 minutes away from that computer. For me, that was just an invitation to go and have a fag. So I started smoking so much more in that office job, because it used to be the case that I'd only have like one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and a couple on my lunch break and things like that. But then when I got told every hour, yeah, that was just, the hour I gave up is beyond me. I don't know. I had so many like times when I'd smoke in the day, and yeah, it just stopped basically.
Isn't that, I mean, most smokers, you make love. I love you, darling. Oh yes, that was beautiful. Oh yes, you are marvelous. It was wondrous. It was, oh yeah. And you can't get to the... Can we do it again? Yes, just do me. A couple of years ago, I actually decided, I don't think from pressure or anything else, I decided I would give up smoking, because I have teenage children, and I knew that one day my teenage children were going to come in smoking. And I didn't actually think that I could be hypocritical enough to sit there and watch them go, and I'm going, don't do that. Don't be happy. Give it to me. I'll... And I woke up one morning, it was 8 o'clock in the morning, and I sat there and I thought, that's it. This is actually the day I would give up smoking. And then I thought, well, I don't really want to give it up. What you should actually do is cut it down. What you should do is actually think, you'll only smoke when you enjoy smoking, because you like smoking, you get a certain pleasure out of it. But instead of it being unhealthy, what you should do is just take the moments that you really get the most enjoyment, and that's the time you smoke. And when do you enjoy smoking most? I thought to myself, after a meal. When I've had a meal, that's when I enjoy smoking. Fine, you can have 12 a day. I'm actually sitting there, 8 o'clock in the morning, going, fine, 12, that's good.
It is true though, like non-smokers don't understand it. That for me, like for smoking, people used to say to me, why do you smoke? That's a disgusting habit. I loved smoking. Like from the time I started smoking up until the time I quit, I absolutely loved smoking. And it was only like a couple of months before I quit that I started to get bored of it. I fell out of love with it, basically. But yeah, it was just one of them things. I would stay in a hotel, and if the lift was out, I would walk down 12 flights of stairs to have a cigarette. Only for 5 minutes later, I have to walk up them 12 steps again, get to the top and think that was bloody hard work. I'm going down for a fag. And believe me, I've done it. That's a true story. And like, it is just a case that I used to love it, and people never understood it. But yeah, for me, it was just a case that when I gave up because I'd go out, I'd light a cigarette, and within a minute, that was gone. And there was no enjoyment from it. So yeah, I just fell out of love with it. And I hope to God that like I never do fall back in love with it. I hope to God that I never ever fall off the bandwagon and start smoking again, because I do feel so much better in myself. When I gave up smoking and I thought, right, I'm going to go to the gym because I don't want to put on all the weight, I got on the treadmill, and after a minute I was like, like it felt like my lungs were just going to fall out of my chest, and like I couldn't breathe and I couldn't walk. Now I can seriously, I can run for a good 45 minutes to an hour straight now, and I'm good. Like I'll get hot and sweaty and things like that, but I'm not probably out of breath and things like that how I used to be as a smoker. And like even down to like playing around with my daughter now and things like that. Like if I take her to a trampoline park or whatever, I feel a lot better in myself. So I hope that's something that I never do. And if I ever caught her smoking, that I would very much try to encourage her not to. But yeah, it's...
Right. I'm thinking 12 cigarettes. It's 8 o'clock now. I won't go to bed before 12 o'clock tonight. It's 16 hours, 12 cigarettes. 12, it's an hour and 20 minutes for every cigarette. And I've finished that one. It's only 3 minutes past 8. I've only got 11 cigarettes. My wife comes in. Good morning, guys. Shut up! Who's going to drive the children? Let them walk. 12 o'clock noon, I have gone through 9 cigarettes. I'm a lunatic. I'm sitting there, 9 cigarettes. Oh my God, 12 hours. Oh God, what have I never get through this 12 hours. Please help me, please help me. I'm going, wait. You have some cigarettes. You've got 3 cigarettes left over. That's 4 hours smoking. You can cut them in half. then I'm thinking, that'll be 2 dog ends. There'll be 2 butts. I'll be throwing away more cigarettes. No, wait. I'm trying to explain myself. Now, here I have been a smoker since I was so big. I am now going through the first withdrawal symptoms I have ever gone through in my life. So I explained this. I said, listen, wait, calm down. You are actually experiencing withdrawal symptoms. This is your first time. It's difficult, we know it, but you've got to persevere. Tomorrow, it's not going to be so difficult because you'll have experienced what it is today, so tomorrow it won't be so bad. But you'll still have 12 cigarettes tomorrow, and you won't need those 12 cigarettes tomorrow. You probably only need 5 or 6 or 4. So take those 8 today and
I love this man so much. I really, I really do. I think he's just brilliant. I love him as a storyteller. And like, there's another comedian that I really like watching, Lee Evans. And I think with Lee Evans, I really like watching him because for what he talks about, I can relate to a lot, and I talk a lot through, and it gets me thinking like about past times and things like that. And Dave Allen does the same thing with a lot of what he talks about, but it's just his storytelling, it's the way he portrays it, and it's his delivery. It's just absolutely brilliant. But guys, listen, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm sorry that I got very chatty on this. This is a subject that I recently went through, so I was always going to have a lot to talk about. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, and there's other Dave Allen you want me to react to, let me know in the comments down below, and I will get round to doing it. But until then, thank you all for tuning in. Take it easy. Have a nice day. Stay safe. Be kind. And I will see you in the next one. My mouth hurts.